While resting by the river, the man inadvertently noticed a boy with exceptional swimming skills. However, when the boy came ashore, Jack approached to strike up a conversation only to discover that the boy's body temperature was extremely cold, even unlike that of a living person. At that moment, the boy's mother arrived hurriedly and took him away. Unable to contain himself, Jack asked if the boy was someone who was great at swimming but poor at running, always thirsty yet never satisfied. The mother, shocked that Jack knew these details, invited him into their home. Jack explained that the boy was actually parasitized by a type of aquatic insect. These insects were harmless, but every year they would migrate like fish, flowing downstream to reproduce and survive in the ocean. Detached insect monsters would possess fish or humans, waiting for a flood to break free from their hosts and return to the sea. However, it's uncertain when a great flood would occur. Jack had created some suppressant potions, hoping to help the boy. Sure enough, not long after, the boy named Alan began to improve. His fish-like gills disappeared, and his body returned to normal temperature. He wanted to play with other children in the village, and despite receiving disdainful looks, Alan still offered to share his fish, merely hoping to make friends. After spending time together, the other children realized that Alan wasn't the cold, monstrous creature he was rumored to be. Alan became more cheerful, and his mother was happier than she had been in a long time, as she hadn't seen her son this happy for ages. Seeing that Alan was back to normal, Jack decided to leave but didn't notice the imminent flood warning. That afternoon, Alan eerily stood outside in the rain. That night, while his mother was asleep, he sneaked out alone, frantically running toward the river. But when they reached the riverbank, Alan was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, Jack appeared with Alan. It turned out that upon hearing about the flood, Jack rushed to the scene. If this time went smoothly, Alan could be free from the insect parasites. They found a safe spot on the floodwaters, with rain pouring down steadily. Alan's mother held him tightly, and when the rain ceased and the sky cleared, Alan had indeed survived. However, he was still extremely thirsty, indicating that the insect monsters had not completely left his body. Jack planned to find some water to replenish his strength, but in the next moment, Alan on his back fainted. Suddenly, Alan's body temperature surged to 200 degrees, and in the next second, he transformed into a wisp of blue smoke and vanished, leaving only his still warm clothes as proof of his existence. Jack was stunned and couldn't utter a word. He considered a second possibility. Perhaps Alan had already died, and the insect monsters were sustaining the boy's life. The mother stood there in a daze, unsure of what to think, and finally realized it was all her fault. It turned out that Alan's mother and father were the best fishermen in the village. An accidental drowning had claimed the father's life, but the mother miraculously survived. She was pregnant at the time and believed that her unborn child had died, but the boy unexpectedly survived. She always thought it was divine intervention that saved her family, never realizing that it was the insect monster's abilities that brought her child back to life. Jack believed that Alan's innate physiology had attracted the insect monsters, and it was during the mother's drowning incident that the parasites invaded, allowing the fetus and mother to miraculously survive. The insect monsters had sustained the boy's life for over a decade, and in return, the boy had given his flesh to the monsters. However, Jack was more inclined to believe another theory. The fetus wanted to protect its mother from drowning, prompting it to come to the human world. The boy repaid his mother by ensuring she had no regrets after being saved. Even though she felt immense sorrow, she cherished the life her son had saved her.